morning, everyone. Thank you, and welcome aboard Pacific Pearl. I hope you had a wonderful evening, and I know you're going to have a fantastic 3 days on board this fantastic ship. Peter, of course, has just presented most of my speech, but I'll work around that. So I guarantee the orchestra won't come on while I'm speaking. Look, you're all here because you're the best of the best, our travel partners in Australia and New Zealand who've made cruising part of their personal and business success stories. You, above all, understand that the cruise experience is indeed the new black, and that the experience economy represents both opportunity and, I think, fantastic commercial growth for all of us. There's a number of dimensions to this Partnership Summit. Over the 3 days, it presents opportunities for, firstly, some fun, so we get to know each other even better while together we all experience what Pacific Pearl has to offer. Recognition of your much valued support of our shared customers and your valued contribution to the success of Carnival Australia's House of Brands. And exciting presentations and training sessions to enhance your efforts in selling cruise in a way that effectively takes you inside our business. We want you to understand it as well as we do, so that you can translate that for the people who come in the door of your establishments. I'd also like to take this opportunity to offer a special welcome to our trade media writers and acknowledge your role in keeping the travel industry and passengers informed. In my view, when it comes to the magical use of words and description, travel writers are up there with the best. And I harbour a secret ambition, actually, to turn myself into a travel writer at some stage. But I haven't found the time yet, so really there's no competition yet. But your reporting and commentary goes to the heart of the cruise experience. And I think painting word pictures of what happens on board ships, painting word pictures of travel, is one of the things that captures people's imagination and makes them choose one thing over another. So hopefully out of the next couple of days, there's some fantastic stories to tell. Together, we've all contributed to making this the world's fastest growing cruise market. Over 700,000 Australians and New Zealanders took a cruise holiday last year. In Australia, market penetration based on population is now 3%, just 0.3% behind the much more mature North American market. This is a phenomenal achievement when you think about where we were as an industry just 5 years ago. Back when we said 1 million people would be cruising by 2020. And when I said it, everyone looked at me like, I want the drug she's on. Back then, cruising was seen as a nice to have in your business portfolios. Very few travel agents would have claimed to be cruise specialists. Very few. But here we are in 2013, at the epicentre of the world's fastest growing cruise market. How much has changed and how quickly it's changed. It actually has been breathtaking. 5 years ago, no one really believed Australia would develop a vibrant cruise market in the way that it has. A few of us harboured ambition. Some of you said it would be great if it happened, but very few really believed it. No one ever dreamed of having so many cruise brands, so many ships, so many itineraries in the market, with products and experiences for everyone. No one would have believed that our national governments and state governments in Australia would be seriously talking about port infrastructure. It's taken a while, but they have, spurred on by an industry that's contributing well over $1 billion to our national economy now. At Carnival Australia, we've continued to develop and streamline our house of brands, concentrating in the last 12 months on clearly defined brand differentiation. As you know, we've made significant changes to our sales structure, where we made the transition from complete cruise solutions to a brand-specific approach. As a result, instead of everyone trying to wear multiple brand hats, our individual brand teams are now better placed to portray the unique features of each brand. And that in turn should make it simpler for you to deal with us, so that you can better understand what we offer in terms of our brands and our onboard products and itineraries. Instead of customers simply choosing the best dollar deal, our aim is to make it easy for you to match your customers to the right brand and the right cruise to suit their holiday needs. With more ships, more cruise options from short breaks to long voyages and everything else in between, along with enhanced itineraries. There is simply heaps of choice, enough so that everyone can find the right cruise, the right destination, the right length, the right product for the thing that really will make their holiday experience one they remember forever. As we look ahead, what's coming over the next 5 years? There's so much possibility still. Why not a market penetration of 10%? Never been done anywhere, but equally nobody has grown a market as fast as we have. And I always think we're basically nations, Australia and New Zealand, of urbanised sea huggers. We're all there, sitting right on the edge of the sea. Most of us can get to a ship catching a cab. Most of us can get on board a ship that takes us to places that the rest of the world would die to get to. And of course, as urbanised sea huggers, we're also travellers. If you look at the number of trips Australians take a year, we outstrip virtually everybody else in the world in terms of our travel patterns. So why not 10%? Can we get great port infrastructure in all our key ports in Australia and New Zealand over the next 5 years? It's starting to gather momentum, so I think that's possible as well, which gives us more options for tonnage, more places to base ships and more ports to go to. We will continue to work with South Pacific countries to help transform those economies. In the next 5 years, I think we'll see not just small things happening in many of the destinations we go to, but larger things. And perhaps we'll work with, as we work with New Zealand, cruise ships could become an alternative form of trans-Tasman travel. I'm going to New Zealand. How will I go? Fly cruise. Who knows? There's all sorts of things that I think are on our horizon that we probably can't even imagine now, as people think about how they travel, what they take time to do as opposed to what they do quickly. In the meantime, as we focus on our wonderful cruise holiday experiences, I just want you to give you an idea of what our multiple brand strategy means in relation to passenger choice. Whether it's fine food on Holland America, Princess Cruises' fantastic new offerings as we look forward into Asia, Green Thunder on Carnival Spirit. I'm sorry, Peter, was that you?
That wasn't the orchestra.
That wasn't the orchestra. There's something for everybody. Who's up in that box? And to the onboard features, new destinations in Australia and New Zealand, in the Pacific, Papua New Guinea and Asia. The breadth of choice and itineraries is overwhelming. In fact, we were doing some numbers the other day. In the last 5 years, the number of ports and therefore destinations available to us has grown 30%, which is of course one of the things that keeps people coming back. Nor can we forget that our Aussie and Kiwi guests are increasingly inclined to travel in order to cruise, and that brings into sharp focus cruising in the Balkans, Alaska, South America. We're particularly excited about returning to Papua New Guinea, with Pacific Dawn departing for the inaugural cruise to Milne Bay and the Trobriand Islands on October 31. First time in 50 years we've been there. It's important to remember that half our passengers are repeat customers who are eager to experience new destinations, have contact with new cultures, have great new experiences that they can bring home and talk about. PNG, of course, is significant for another reason. It's a perfect case study of business and government combining to make the most of the economic opportunity of cruising. Improved port infrastructure was essential for us to bring ships into the region, and the PNG government answered the challenge. After a couple of visits, quite a few phone calls, I have the Prime Minister on speed dial, but anyway, it got there. And we actually did get agreement on building the port on almost the last day deadline that we'd set ourselves. I don't care. We got it done. And I think that that whole region now is open to bigger ships as opposed to just expedition ships, and the experiences will be truly incredible. Turning to industry matters, you'll be aware that that ICCA, the International Cruise Council Australasia, has had a change of name and is now Clear Australasia. Brett Jardine's here with us. In many ways, the change reflects the expansion of cruising in our region and the increasing sophistication of our industry and its international focus, particularly in relation to the growth of cruising also in emerging Asian markets. Clear Australasia is now the Australasian arm of the Cruise Lines International Association, which is the global group, the voice of the industry globally. The New Look organisation will of course retain its training functions that all of you value so highly. There's much more to be done, particularly in regard to improving port infrastructure in both Australia and New Zealand, and we need a strong industry voice in the market. We've got so much bigger now, it's not appropriate for each of the brands to be a voice on what are essentially industry issues. It's time that we presented ourselves as an industry the size we actually are in the market. So there's no doubt that national and regional governments have recognised what an economic powerhouse cruising is. It's hard to ignore an industry that's generating thousands of jobs, millions of dollars in providoring, and an all-up value-add contribution of over $1 billion a year. We've seen investment now in port facilities in Sydney and Auckland and other places around Australia, but the challenge is still to ensure the infrastructure improvements keep pace and support the industry growth. Auckland Shed 10 terminal development is a great step forward. Much better for our customers as they come into Auckland to be able to walk into town rather than into the car park beside the Hilton Hotel and stand there thinking, where am I? But it's not the complete answer, and there's more that we need to do to make sure that our biggest ships can get into Auckland into a proper facility. But I think it's a wonderful step forward. The new cruise terminal at White Bay, as all of you will have experienced, is probably our best piece of infrastructure in Australia in terms of a bespoke cruise facility. The only issue, of course, is that it's not quite in the right place, but too late now, and we need to sort out transport. Yeah, I know it's hardly going to be picked up and shunted somewhere else, but anyway, we need to get some better public transport, and we're continuing to lobby Sydney to get a ferry stop there and to get better public transport, so it's easier to get in and out of. And interestingly, we've had a few wins. There's the Navy now writes to me, calling me Dear Anne, not Dear, you know, woman from hell, or whatever they say about me privately, which I'm sure has a couple more expletives in it, but anyway. It's been, we've worked really hard with the Navy and with governments on both sides. Everyone privately says the right thing. It's bipartisan when you speak to people in their offices, but we're still waiting for a bit more public grunt behind that. And again, we're always positive about it. It's moving forward slowly. We got special agreement to add another ship in 2015 so we can get Queen Elizabeth in, but we do need a bit more certainty for the growth. And it's not that far ahead that we can see we need 20 turns a year at Garden Island, so that means we need something a bit more substantial. In Brisbane, I'm optimistic of a potential for a new cruise facility at the mouth of the river. There's still a lot of conversation going on, papers being signed and land being traded, but I think we'll get there, and as soon as we've got some certainty on that, clearly we'll be making a big song and dance about it. That does allow more capacity into Brisbane and allows bigger ships in and out. So all this infrastructure and port development is needed to underpin further growth, but of course it's been critical as well to underpin the growth that we've had. And I think now I don't have to tell the story of the opportunity, which 5 years ago we were saying, trust us, this will bring a lot, and people are going, yeah, you know, let's see. But of course now I think government, state government and federal government can see it. So that is a huge step forward for us as an industry. I referred earlier to the growing sophistication of the industry. Growth and profitability also provide the scope to do more in the community in a way that adds great value and positive perception to cruising. Whether it's P&O's partnership with Save the Children, Carnival Cruise Line support of Red Nose Day, Princess Cruises support for Vietnam vets, Cunard Summer Heroes recognition. These initiatives put our brands in a position to do things that resonate with our communities and our passengers. They want our businesses to be part of the communities in which we operate. And I'm particularly excited about what we're doing in the Pacific with local authorities and partnership with organisations such as AusAid and New Zealand Aid. As you know, we recently signed a memorandum of understanding with AusAid that underpins economic activity in destinations in the Pacific. We made a commitment to those communities that's made us incredibly welcome over the last 80 years. We want that to go forward. because we know that communities can say we don't want ships anymore. I read often in quite sophisticated cities around the world are saying, oh, do we, don't we? You know, is it the right thing? And I think we've got a plan in a way that acknowledges that people can effectively lock us out of destinations. So we're engaging in those communities in sustainable cruise tourism, minimising our environmental and social footprint, and we're doing our part to ensure communities get economic benefit. So working with communities to help them develop small businesses, develop shore tours, do the things that mean that money goes in their pocket when we come to town, rather than people come in and people go away and they're left thinking, what happened? The depth and scope of our activities in the Pacific is growing all the time, and I think it's fantastic now our passengers can be directly involved. The partnership with Save the Children is a great example where passengers can do simple things. And for those of you who haven't already, get yourselves a knitting kit while you're on board, knit a square. We put them together to create blankets, and then women in the places we go when they have their new babies can wrap themselves in a blanket, or wrap their babies in a blanket, even more importantly, and have something new, which in many of these communities, people never get new stuff. They haven't got shops on their islands, and very simple things make a huge difference. And welcome again. 2013 Partnership Summit. We value you as true business partners, and for the next few days, I want you to feel as though you are part of the Carnival Australia family. Everywhere I look, I see promise and opportunity for us to share in the continued success of cruising, for us to grow our business and for you to grow your businesses in partnership. Many of you will remember, as I said, the last time we announced an audacious goal, 1 million passengers by 2020. Who could have thought then that it would happen by 2016? 4 years earlier than we even imagined. So perhaps it's time to set ourselves another audacious goal. We all have a vested interest now in growing cruise. 10% market penetration, nice ring. Maybe by 2030, so we've got another 0 at the end. But keep that in mind as you're here over the next few days. Imagine how we could do that. What is it we'd need to do to really get to 10%? And I'm sure by the time you get off the ship and have spoken to us all, you will be able to actually imagine how we can make that happen. Thank you very much.